Happy Friday, everyone. It's Braun, Kipnis, and Kratz with you today. Kip, good to see you, dude.
Likewise. How we been?
We've been good. I wanted to actually start with this because 2 days ago I started the show on a recent development with the Blue Jays having a team meeting, and it was announced like right before the show started. And Kratz's whole thing is that you do team meetings with a purpose, and that purpose is you check out the calendar and see who you're playing. They were playing the smoking hot Phillies with Aaron Nola on the mound. They beat them. So I do have to give them credit because I didn't know how many team meetings you've experienced in life, Kip, but do you remember what happened afterward? And were you usually facing a somewhat upper echelon pitcher on a good team?
You usually time it up where you want it to be a favorable matchup for sure. But if they're in need of a team meeting, then they're in need of a team meeting. And obviously they got something accomplished and took down Nola. So that's a good time, if any. But yeah, you kind of set it up a little bit to where you can see a little run on the schedule happening.
Well, the other thing, Kratz, that I thought about was if you take the risk and you're actually facing a good team with a good pitcher and you win, maybe the team meeting holds even more value. It's like putting, it's like placing a bet. Like, are you placing a bet at are you minus 150 that night because you're playing, the White Sox and it's their number 8 starter? Or are you plus 150 that day because you're facing a team that hadn't lost at home in a while and one of their better pitchers?
Hey, you just got to go hard. You got to go hard in the paint. That's it.
Yep.
And they did.
And a good return. All right, let's charge the damn mound. I'm not betting on the Reds lately. They have lost 8 games in a row. Yeah.
Smart man.
They fall again. Their offense has fallen apart. And there are a few dudes that are performing. Tyler Stevenson, Jake Fraley. Obviously, Ellie De La Cruz is an MVP candidate right now. But Kratz, what are you seeing with Cincinnati? Because this is starting to get out of hand, and it might not get any easier tonight. We'll get to this later, but they're facing San Francisco in San Fran against Logan Webb.
They look like they've been hitting in San Francisco against Logan Webb for the last 10 games. It looks like sometimes when you're not hitting the ball at the ballpark, and even yesterday when Candelario hit his home run, it just barely cleared in Cincinnati. So that's a fly out in other places. You sit there and the ball's not going out of the ballpark. You're not even driving it to the gaps. You're sitting there going, guys, are you guys soaking your bats in the hot tub or are you guys soaking your legs in the hot tub? It just looks like they don't have that guy that's able to step up. And teams have done a good job of pitching around Stevenson and Ellie for the most part. And even Ellie, as hot as he was, has kind of cooled off in this time. He's still hot, but he just hasn't been the Ellie that was carrying them. And it's surprising to me. I don't understand it.
They've been outscored 43-17 during the 9-game skid. So most of these games are not close. The average deficit at the end of the game for them during this time period is over 3 runs per game in these losses. So it's a streaky offense. Yeah, yesterday Arizona takes them down. That was actually a closer game yesterday. 5-4. Sewald came in and got his first save of the year in his second appearance. 1-2-3, but they're missing Matt McClain, Noelvi Marte, TJ Friedel, the broken wrist for Christian Encarnacion Strand lately, although he wasn't performing well. Add it all up and kept eventually, as exciting and young as they are, if they're missing half their lineup, you're going to run into problems.
They've got a bunch of things working against them right now with injuries and guys going into slumps. I'm wondering, maybe not his bat, but is this where a guy like Joey Votto played a big part where he would rally the troops a little bit better, or his experience kind of keeps everything in perspective so he doesn't let kind of losing streaks like this happen as much? Granted, they'll happen, but 8 in a row is a tough time. That means a lot of things are going against you right now.
Well, you guys tell me. How much does that really mean? Votto last year, obviously wasn't at his best, and we haven't seen him in the bigs yet this year either. So he's trying to get up on that minor league deal with the Blue Jays. But we did speak to multiple players in Cincinnati last year and then even after the season who said that he actually improved their hitting. It sounded to me, Kratz, like he was an extra hitting coach. Just like in the category of a JD Martinez, where he has made an impact for certain players.
I'll break it down right for Kip right now. What does Michael Brantley mean when he doesn't get hits to your team? He's a pro hitter.
So much.
Like that's the guy that comes to my mind when I see Kip. Like he may not get hits for your team, but there's something that adds to it. And I don't know I saw Brantley in spring training with the guys and how Kip's always talked so fondly of him, how much Jan has talked so fondly of him. And then when he goes to the Astros, they talk so fondly of him. It's a guy up there that knows how to take professional at-bats. So even on days where you don't get a hit, and it's rare when 300 hitters don't get hits, or for Votto, they don't get walks. He's got, a 380 plus on-base percentage for his career. You take that out of there, you take that completely out of the clubhouse, and maybe some guys are constantly looking around. Who's the guy that's going to be our Votto? Not that they need to have the numbers that he had, but who's pushing and who's leading in that direction?
You touched on it. Some guys' influence goes way beyond the stat sheet, way beyond just their hits. The calming presence that a Brantley or a Votto has in that lineup or the locker room goes way beyond just whether they were 0 for 4 or 4 for 4 that day. I think just the fact that bats that they put up, the experience that they have, the conversations with young hitters that they have all the time is just keeps people moving always in the right direction. And that's exactly what you need when you're, back-to-back sweeps right now, probably 8 straight. That's tough. You're looking for that calming voice, that presence, not to freak out, not to overreact, and to get back on the winning streak. And they could use someone like that for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're wasting some good pitching too. That's the underrated part of this team right now, the starters. So this was, I think, going into yesterday, I found this on CBS. They said every member of the current starting 5 entering Thursday or Friday, whatever it is, right, had an ERA plus of 110 or better. So, 10% above average or better as a pitcher on the mound from your staff, 1 through 5. And Nick Martinez got moved back to the bullpen, so not counting him, but Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott, Frankie Montas, Graham Ashcraft, all pitching well. It's not like we're pointing to 1 or 2 guys going, man, I don't know what they're going to do with, Kyle Hendricks. I don't know what you're going to do with Alek Manoah. Like, nope, they don't have problems. It's just the lineup right now. And they're missing, they're missing impact.
They're a good team, and they're missing some of their key guys right now. And also they're underperforming. They're not playing too well, but they're a good team, and it's early. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be there at the end. My opinion. I think they're going to be there at the end.
Yep.
I agree.
On the on the other side of that matchup tonight, the San Francisco Giants also look terrible right now. They were dusted by the Phillies, and then they fall in Colorado for a little 1-gamer yesterday. I mean, they got beat up in Colorado, 9-1. So same thing. One of these teams is at least going to win tonight, and they've got their stopper.
Someone's going to have a good day.
Yeah, but I think they were one of the, quote, off-season winners, and it's still super early, Kratz, and I believe in their starting pitching, but slow start for them in a tough division.
Tough division. I mean, the Reds, they have a lot to climb to get back to where we think they're going to be at the end of the season. The Giants, you're like, okay, maybe we just don't, maybe we don't catch the Dodgers. And I don't know that they thought that at the beginning of the season because you're invincible at the beginning of the season. But this was actually a game I looked and scrolled down to when I first looked to make my BetMGM bets. I'm like, is this going to be the first ever 6.5 over under that I've seen? Because I've never seen a 6.5, and it's set at 7, so it's a low over under. But they're just not. Unfortunately, what we talked about was, can this team stay at 500 until they get Alex Cobb, until they get Robbie Ray, until Blake Snell has his spring training? Then maybe we're still talking about a good team, but they still have to score runs, and it can't just be, an opposite field home run from Michael Conforto one night and a pulled home run from Michael Conforto the other night. Like, they need guys to push runs across on a consistent basis.
Yeah, they're 3-7 in their last 10. And yes, technically they won the Rocky series. They lost yesterday. They won the prior 2 and put up 8 and 5. But then go before that against the Phillies, their run totals 1, 4, 3, 3, 3 against the Red Sox, 2 against the Red Sox day before that, and a loss. So you're not seeing the offense, even on the road in some better ballparks besides Colorado.
Putting a lot of pressure on your pitchers, both teams. When you don't score runs, you put a lot of pressure. They're worried about making mistakes. They know that maybe one mistake can cost them the entire game, and that's just not a fun way to pitch. Or you don't want to do that as an offense. You want to give them as much room for error as you can. But yeah, when you go out and you think you can't give up a run because that'll lose you the game, that's a tough way to pitch.
I don't think they were naive to this. I don't think the Giants were naive to it. They made an offer to JD Martinez, if I remember right, in the offseason, and he didn't want to go there for whatever reason. This isn't a San Francisco stinks, comment. It's just they knew they needed offense. But when they weren't getting that offense, they stacked this defense. And these guys can absolutely get after it all over the field. You're talking about, an ex-Gold Glove winner and Nick Ahmed at short. I get it. His bat's not quite there, but you have a big league shortstop. You're not trying to fill it in with, Tyro. I think Tyro Estrada came up when I played with him. He played a few games at shortstop, but they're not trying to put people in positions where they're not defensively. So they're going to continue to have low-scoring games. They need some thump. They need guys that can push runs across, guys who can not strike out. Don't strike out. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and just to clarify, JD, because he spoke about this, he did get the San Francisco offer. Do you know why he didn't choose the Giants?
I forget.
I can tell you. It was the
What is
ballpark. The quote's really good too.
Wow.
He goes, he rejected 1 year, $15 million from San Francisco, and that also would have gotten
13?
him in camp on time. He ended up getting 1 year, $12 million with deferrals though. So I'm trying to see what the actual. So no matter what, it was less, a few mil less ish from the Mets versus the Giants. But he said, if I go to San Francisco and I hit 260 with 20 home runs, people are going to say I'm old and I'm washed up and I'm kind of done and I'll find myself out of the game. I wanted to give myself the best opportunity. I mean, think about it. Right-handed hitter in that park for Pop. Good luck.
I don't think it gets talked about enough. Like you can go down the asterisks with Bonds, but for him to have his career and all the home runs that he hit in San Fran, I don't think that gets talked about enough because that place is tough to hit, especially at night. Ball does not fly there at night. Dimensions are not favorable, but I understand that if he's doing a 1 year deal, he's going to go where he wants to hit, put up a better year, and try to get a contract after that.
Yeah,
Makes
I mean,
sense.
for Bonds, for Bonds, you got to give some type of disclaimer out there. So
I agree. That's what I'm saying. You can go down that road if you want to. You can open
warming?
that can of worms. Yeah.
Is that what you wanted to talk about, Scott?
Global warming in your body.
The seals
Global
out
warming
in the bay.
in your body that enhances things for you.
You can give that global warming. The word is steroids to a lot of people. Barry Lamar Bonds is still the only one doing what he did. The way he whacked that baseball.
Amen.
It is unbelievable and should be celebrated, and people should get off their lawns when they talk about, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame and all this stuff. He cheated the game. If he was the only one, I can change my tune. He was not the only one, and what he did is astronomical. They moved the fences in, and dudes still aren't hitting dingers there. It is crazy.
Yep. Well, when you take
Scotty didn't like that.
What?
No.
Are
you against him being in the Hall of Fame?
I don't want to go that. Do I what?
Are you against him being in the Hall of Fame, getting in? Do you not think he should be in?
I used to be against the roid speculation guys, or whatever you want to say legally.
Sure.
I started to change because the floodgates are just so open. And there's so many guys in, and also I just stopped caring. It actually took a lot of the Hall of Fame luster away for me in general. But
steroids?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's guys that don't get in that I feel like deserve to be in, and it was such an unfair playing field at the time. Not everyone was. You're right. It wasn't one dude, but it wasn't 100%. And whatever you want to debate the percentage was,
They weren't
it
facing
wasn't close to
anybody.
100.
They weren't facing anybody taking steroids.
They were
They
facing
weren't
many
facing.
people taking roids, but then what about the dudes that weren't, that don't get in? It just you can't play investigator. I tried, but
You
it
could
gets
put him in,
complicated.
though, and still mention something like that. I just don't think you can talk about the era that Bonds was in without mentioning his name. That's the way I look at Hall of Fame.
Of course.
If you think of an era and that guy's name comes up, that's how I put people in, kind of.
But the Hall of Fame is a museum, and then it has plaques. I know we're going down a different road right now, right?
It's a history book. It's a history book.
You can tell the story in the museum without giving somebody the plaque, the bust, the honor.
You
know what I'm saying? You can have a whole wing. There's wings
Yeah.
of other things there's wings for a player that's never been there before, or that's never made the Hall of Fame. Like there could be a wing for some crazy scenario that happened. There could be a display for something crazy that happened in Major League Baseball. It doesn't mean that player is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
And not for nothing, did he ever fail a test? We could sit here and be like, for sure he did it, whatever. But did he ever get popped or fail a test?
No, it was Wild West times. It was before they formalized all of that, right?
And was it against the rules?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Yes.
Yes, it was definitely against the rules. Oh, yes. The rules were there.
The rules
testing
started
was
around that time. The testing
the testing started. The rules were there. The rules and the laws were there. I'm not trying to play like fun police here. Like I said, I really don't care that much anymore. I don't.
Nobody do steroids or bat flips. Scotty Braun, the police are out.
I want every 12-year-old bat flipping their ass off. I don't want any 12-year-old taking roids if we want to get real deep.
That's why I had the issue with the whole federal government getting involved. There weren't no 12-year-olds taking steroids. There was barely any 16-year-olds taking it. I get it, there was, but it wasn't an epidemic because it was happening. Maybe now in college, that's when it started. You go to a junior college, that was always the red alert.
I disagree. Go to my high school in Jersey. We'll chat about it later.
But it wasn't because of Sammy Sosa or Bearers Bonds.
No, that was mostly the football team where I grew up. Anyway, let's move to our first guest of the day on FT Live. Excited to have him on a somewhat frequent basis here on FT. Star catcher on the Angels, Logan O'Hoppe, joining us right now. Logan, great to have you on, man. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, of course. Good to see you. We're excited to have you on here.
Look at this guy.
Right from the jump. Well, this is one of the more jacked young catchers in the sport. And, right above you, Logan, the box right above you is another guy who does it clean, who's still jacked as hell and looks like he could hop on the field.
Well, that's the blueprint I'm trying to follow, man. I got the baggy shirt on too, so I appreciate the kind words. But yeah, I got the guy.
You need a new blueprint.
Kip, tell him. There ain't no blueprint.
A new blueprint.
Come on, Logan. You ain't trying to get no blueprint. Ain't nobody trying to stay around for 19 years, barely playing. You get your 10 years in, your contract, you do your thing, you stay jacked. There's no blueprint here. Look at this too. Logan, you don't want to be bald.
Hey, that mask is killing me. I'm losing my hair too, man. So it's it's been tough.
Keep fighting. Keep fighting the good fight on that one.
I will.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing, by the way? Does the mask actually hurt the hair growth?
I have no idea, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me and would justify me losing my hair. So I use it as a crutch quite a bit.
No. It's not the mask. It's not the helmet. It's not the mask. It's not dealing with pitchers. It's all that 3-in-1 shampoo, body wash, and conditioner that you had to put in your hair when you're in the bushes. You can't be washing your hair with that. It's going to fall out. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I had a story actually when I was on my rehab assignment last year. We were in Rancho, and there were big things that like dial. It looked like dish soap. It said it was body wash, but I could have sworn it was dish soap. So had to go to Target or wherever it was for some of the boys that day because we can't be washing our hair and face with dish soap, man. That's a little too low.
That's That's low, but hey, you know what? When you're in the bushes, you got to do things in the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't on here. This is your first time. I appreciate you joining, but I talked about it the one time on a show last year. One time we had 3-1, and you know how they hang them on the wall? It's the bulk one, and you squeeze it down. I had a kid on the team. He was over here and he's watching somebody, squish it onto their rag, squish it onto their loofah,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Whoa!" He goes, "Why did you do it 5 times?" And my buddy's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, 3-1. Like 1 is for body wash, 2 is for conditioner, 3 is for shampoo." So that's
No.
real minor league stuff. That's real minor league stuff.
That is whatever gets you through. I mean, it makes sense in my head, but yeah, no 3-1 anymore.
Now we're talking about minor league stuff. I'm gonna transition right into my first question. You got a lot of dudes in the show right now on your team that barely spent any time in the minor leagues. To me,
Mm-hmm.
when you went back to AA in 22, was that 22?
Yep.
And you absolutely murdered AA because they had another catcher in AAA. The Phillies had another catcher in AAA, but you were crushing it. I asked so many guys who, I've kind of gone back and done well. Do you feel like you needed that year in the minor leagues? And do you think some of your teammates that are in the big leagues right now could have improved from having that year? Everybody wants to be in the big leagues, but do you think there's any correlation or you can give them any advice because you were in the minor leagues?
High school, I needed every year in the minor leagues. And I'm grateful I got the time I did. As far as the guys in the clubhouse, I can't speak for them. I'm not in their shoes, and I mean Nolan and Neto are the two that I think about that came from college too. So we're both playing baseball at the same time, obviously just at different levels. But selfishly, those years helped me a lot, especially that year in AA. There were a lot of things on and off the field that I got to work through and experience. And I mean, I'm still learning now, man. I don't think I'm ever gonna stop learning, but I definitely think those years in the minor leagues helped me.
Got some fun notes on you here about your journal keeping.
Mm-hmm.
That you kept 2 journals last year, and it's up to 3 this year, or is it more than 3?
It's been always 2 for the baseball stuff, 1 for the pitchers and one for my hitting stuff, and then I got 1 for everything off the field. So I'm trying to control the chaos up top.
What have you noticed from doing this? The benefits from just kind of writing it down, getting it out of your head onto some paper, and being able to process it a little bit better, or what have you benefited from doing this?
Yeah, it helps me reset, especially in the season. We have new series and new cities we go into, stuff like that. So it gives me a little blueprint to follow, like I said before, follow in the next couple of days, So that's helped a lot as far as working through things and how I want to approach it, and gives me a little light and a clean slate for every few days.
I love it when you keep track of. Sorry, Kratz. When you keep track of like writing down after good games, and then a month later or something, you might be in a little rut. Do you go back to those good games, those pages, and read like how you were thinking, how you were feeling when everything was going well, and you kind of look back and you're like, oh, I can let the ball travel deep and just hit the other way and simplify things. Do you go back and like use it as notes for you?
I do. I just did it in Pittsburgh, actually. It's amazing the things that you forget, as the year goes on, and especially when things are going well. And I always seem to be kicking myself for why I came out of thinking like that, but it's part of the wave and part of the season. So I do that quite a bit, yeah.
Love it.
Oh, can I show you something?
Hey, what's that?
You see what this is? Why are you writing it down? Put it in the computer, man.
Old school.
I don't know,
Old
something
school.
about something about being on the screen. I feel like I'm on my phone to be brainless a lot of the time, or it's to, I'm texting a lot. So I like to have a pen in my hand and write it down. I feel like it sticks a little bit better.
Actually, Nancy, to combat you, right there. I still have it.
There we go.
Wow.
Can you read us? Can you read us an excerpt, JK?
Yeah, a passage.
I can. I got pictures of my strides. I got notes, hitting drills, everything. Game log. It's good to write it down, Kratzy.
I'm so impressed. Hey, I'm so impressed. I started when I got drafted. We had a coach that was like, "Hey, you got to write it down. You got to put stuff in your journal. Just writing down your at bats. Just even if like what you did how many pitches you saw. It kind of helps you process it. Dude, I did it for a week, and I went back and I read what I wrote about myself. Oh my gosh, it brought me down because I was so pissed. Like, oh, good job, Erik. You rolled over. I talked about myself in the third person in the journal. You rolled over on another slider. You're not fast enough to get down the line. I kept it for a long time, and then I just threw it away. Never writing in it anymore, but it was about 1 week to 10 days.
It's unbelievable because it'll look like two different people wrote in that book. You can be a completely different person 1 week to the next. 100%. You'll be like, this is not the same player writing.
I thought my handwriting was better on the days when I got hits and the days I didn't get hits. I swear, you go back and look, and now I did for 10 days. Like, you guys have like these nice journals and everything. That is impressive to me. I think it's awesome.
I appreciate it. It's so true. It's so true. It's crazy the ebbs and flows you realize when I go through it. So it helps me try to stay consistent too. If I have a good game, I can try to stay in that mindset even if things don't go well.
Kratz, I thought you were up, dude.
I did. I already asked my question.
You are. Okay. I'm going to mix in a few fan questions here. First off, people just want to know how Trout's feeling, how you felt when he went down, because obviously such a big part of the team, such a big part of the sport. He was off to a 6 start, and we actually were there maybe 4 or 5 days before he went down with the injury, and he's tight with Todd Frazier, and he was telling us how he was feeling better than ever in the whole deal. So I can only imagine, what it was like to be in the clubhouse with him during that time.
Yeah, it was really hard to hear. You see how much Mike puts into it and how much work he puts into taking care of his body and into the team. I mean, we were texting this morning about some things from last night, and I woke up to those texts, and he's always around and always trying to find ways to improve, So he's in the clubhouse. He's around. He's looking great. He's feeling better every day. He's been saying so. Yeah, it's tough to see, but when you have a guy like that just being around, it's something you're definitely grateful for.
Is he there for games?
Yep. Yeah, in the dugout last night.
Is he a cheerleader?
More us young guys picking his brain than anything. We try not to annoy him and Tony, but they're both huge helps.
What do you ask him? What do you young guys? Because you got a lot of young guys. What do you guys ask him?
Yeah, I ask a lot, and I know Neto's locker's next to mine, so we definitely wear Mikey out with some questions a lot of the time. But it's really just game situations and how to go about it, and different questions that come up during the game. I can't put my finger on any right now, but even stuff off the field, if we're all going to the field together or whatever it is, if something comes up, whether it's dealing with fans or outside stuff at home or whatever it is, Mikey's always there to help us out, and I really appreciate that from him.
All right, we got another fan question. I really like this fan question from our chat. It's from Not a Clever Name. Not a Clever Name. I like that name too. But anyway, can you ask Ohtani, or they're asking me to ask, my bad. Your prep with Ohtani, is it different than with other pitchers? When you caught him last year, is it different because he had more things on his plate?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. A lot of the meetings that we're going over are really all the lineup that we're facing that day, and then it's my job to use what they do and their strengths within that. So it is pretty similar to other pitchers, I would say. It's a little bit more in depth because he does have more weapons and more tools to use. But yeah, he was a fun one to work with. I learned a lot just from going through the meetings with him.
All right, Logan, I want to ask you about a few pitchers that you're catching right now. So let's start with Patrick Sandoval and his unique repertoire and how he's been really playing to his strengths. Can you describe how he's evolved as a pitcher and how that potentially relates to how the game is changing in terms of utilizing your strengths?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that as a young catcher coming up, I'm trying to really hammer down as far as selling out to these guys' strengths and when in doubt, leaning on that. And Sandy's got a bunch of them, which is nice to have. So I'm really proud of how he's gone these past couple starts because I feel like he's gotten back to that. His sliders come such a long way, and he's using his changeup really well and then commanding the heater now too. So, yeah, I'm proud of him for riding that wave and really getting back to what he does best, and try not to do too much and not trying to do everything. And once he hammers those few things down that he's really, really good at, then I'll put him up there with anybody else.
Do you think there's a line for fastball usage in the sport right now? I ask that because the Red Sox have mostly thrived this year with a similar pitching staff from last year, but Andrew Bailey and Craig Breslow really have been pushing the same thing that many other orgs are pushing now too. It's like, hey, can we dip the fastball percentage down even a little bit more? Because if one of your secondary pitches is your best pitch, let's use that more. Chris Sale, we talked about yesterday, he's using his slider 45-ish% of the time now. So I'm wondering, with someone like Sandoval on that question, and even Reed Detmers, who was off to a great start, his fastball's gotten hit a little bit more lately. So how those conversations go down nowadays behind the scenes, where it's like, hey, let's chill off the fastball just for a little bit, just to switch it up, because so many other guys are doing it anyway.
Yeah, it's a fine line to walk, man. It's tough because, these guys have stuff that's so good. Their secondary stuff is so good, and guys are throwing it so hard now. Soriano, he's throwing his curveball. It was up near 90 the other day. It's crazy the stuff that these guys are coming out with. Like, why wouldn't you use weapons like that? So I think that goes into it. I don't think it's any reason, like, no one has a vendetta against the heater, and I know as a hitter, I love hitting the heater. So it makes sense if you got secondary stuff that good, why wouldn't you use it? So I think that's the reason that we're seeing it a little bit more, just because the stuff is getting so much better.
I couldn't even crow hop 90. I only got to be with him for a spring training for a little bit, but I became a huge fan of him. What's it like been playing for Wash? How's he been?
Man, he's
awesome, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great. He's great. He's full of energy every day and passionate about it. And I'm grateful we got him because he's a fun guy to ride the wave with. And I've learned so much from him in a few short months. And I look forward to keep working with him.
You probably learned some new words too.
I have some new sayings and new terms.
Yeah.
I felt a little dumb at first, asking, hey, what does that mean? But my vocabulary is definitely expanding with Wash.
What's the craziest thing that he said or done, or the most, inspiring thing, just something that stood out that you can somewhat share, right? That's in the PG
craziest thing you can't say on air, probably.
Yeah, craziest thing, right?
I'll answer that one. There's no chance.
Yeah. You guys have seen it, I'm sure, but his mound visits when he comes out, and he doesn't take anybody out. It happened with Sandoval in Pittsburgh the other day. He comes out and talks to guys and really lights a fire under them. And selfishly, I take a lot from that too. You hear Wash and how much he believes in us and cares about it. You definitely carry it with you. You take it with you and feel good about it. Even at the plate, you hear him from the dugout. He's in every pitch, obviously, and making his voice heard a lot of the time. So I would say his mound visits and just his presence when you're actually in the game, when you're in between the lines, is a huge takeaway and something that I'm grateful that he does.
You keep any of his notes that he puts in your locker?
I keep all of them. Got the folder in my locker.
Nice.
You got your own folder and you put them in. Is there any time when you come in and you gotten a note and it's been a little critical note, or is it always like a building you up note?
It's a building you up note more times than not. There hasn't been a critical one yet. So no, they're all really good to hear. It's the first day of the series. We get a new one of those. So yeah, I keep them in my folder in my locker with the other reports on other lineups. And you'd appreciate it, Kratz. I got it all organized and stuff. But that's one of the compartments in my folder are his notes.
I do appreciate that. And they're handwritten, right? They're not typed.
No, not typed, handwritten, not on the screen. Not on the screen.
Has he made? Do you do any of the warm ups with him on a knee in the fungo? Do catchers do that at all?
During spring training, I did a lot of that with him.
That's a workout.
At the infield. Oh my God, yeah, 100%.
That's a workout. Your hamstrings and back are burning after you're done with him.
The first couple of days of spring, I was looking at Neto. I was like, damn, man, I can't believe this. They got him working, but no, it's really cool, and it was pretty surreal to be a part of that with him because I've seen him do it so many times with other players and other teams. So definitely learned a lot from him as far as that goes.
How about your change in your catching stance? A complete change, because you kind of were shifted to it a little bit last year, right?
Yeah.
And now you're completely bought in?
I am sold out to being on a knee, and I can't believe I'm saying that. If you asked me that a couple of years ago, I would have told you you're crazy. So this offseason, I revamped everything I was doing behind the plate mechanically. I feel like I really needed to make a lot of adjustments with that, and luckily I got enough people back home and a whole lot of knowledge that I'm really lucky to have that have helped with it.
Why? Why were you cautious about going over to a knee? Why did you end up selling out to it?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you not that you're a sellout, I'm saying, because I think it works for different guys. And the numbers say it's really working for you this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew I had to make a change. I think first off I didn't want to go to it at first. I think because I was being stubborn and I felt good with where I was at. But then I looked at what the numbers were saying and I was like, this isn't showing up as good as I feel. So I knew I had to make a change. And being on a knee had helped. After I got hurt at the end of last year, I started doing it a little bit more with 2 strikes and guys on base because I had the notion in my head that if I'm on a knee, I'm not going to be as athletic. And then once I started to learn and really try to understand being down on a knee, I realized that I feel more athletic from a knee, which is pretty crazy to think about. So, yeah, I mean, I'm bought in now, and the results this offseason that I saw and felt with, and that's really what got me hooked. And yeah, I'm going to keep riding with it. And obviously, there are little adjustments here and there you make, but I do feel much better from a knee now.
Love that. Yeah. Hey, you're one of many. The tide's really turned over the last
100%.
few years. Everyone like, oh, I'll never do that. And then they're like, all right, I'm in. I bought in. So
yeah, I'm sold out. I don't think I'll ever go back.
Wow. I like that. Yeah. Hey, you evolve. I like that.
Yeah.
Logan, great having you on, man. Appreciate the time. Looking forward to having you on again. And good luck the rest of the way here while we watch you.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you. See ya.
Logan O'Hoppe, catcher, Angels.
Good dude.
Yeah, great dude. Good speaker. Shocker. Catcher can talk. Shocker.
They never shut up.
They never stop quarterback. We'll get to the hitting at some point with him too. Oh, Kratz. Yeah, well, now he's going to protest.
The silent treatment.
Logan can hit too. We'll get into that next time or a few other things. We'll get him on in a few weeks again. So we're going to talk to Logan throughout the season, get into some Angels ball, get into what he's got going on. He's got a little shot at the All-Star game. Got a little shot. There's competition. So you might need like a replacement where, I don't know, some dude that gets in all the time, like Salvi just doesn't feel like going, or which is doubtful. Heim, who else? Adley. So there's competition, but in terms of what he's doing right now, numbers wise, he should be up there.
I never got that. I mean, I went to 2, but also like the guys who go so much to All-Star games where they're like, I'm just not going to go. I never understood that, or take the break off. I can't imagine that. You got, I mean, granted, say it again.
There's a lot of that. I mean, it was,
I know, but it's
maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I think it popped up. It was really a thing because you also had a ton of Astros players that weren't going, which, kind of made sense. It was like the first time after, all that crap that they were dealing with. And that added to some other players that were, maybe not that banged up, like that they could have at least showed up. So it became a thing. I don't think it was as much of a thing last year, but it does seem like some of the superstars sometimes that have been there 10 times are like, I'll take the 4 days off.
Yeah. I just can't relate to that. I guess I was never that guy, the superstar, but I think it's just such an honor. So I just don't get it.
I agree. I have no relation to either of you guys.
Yeah.
The superstar or the 2 times. No, you, Scotty. Like I didn't go. It doesn't apply, but I didn't go the last year that I was selected to the All-Star game in AAA. They gave me the option, and I didn't go because I had to fly across the country to Tacoma. The game was in Tacoma, and they were like, well, I know you're 37. Do you want to go? And until they said that, like I never would even have thought that I was an all-star. But then they asked me, and I was like, I actually kind of we had a vacation to the beach, like family time was huge. So I let my kids. I told my boys, I said, guys, I was like, you guys, because my daughter wasn't old enough yet. I said, you guys decide. Do you want to go to the beach or you want to fly out to Tacoma for the All-Star game? They were like,
Hard choice. Yeah.
well, they wanted to be on the field. Like they saw it as like going out for the home run derby because their buddy Richie Schaefer was going to be, because they were always in the clubhouse that year with me. And
I love
Richie was going to be Richie. Yeah, they loved Richie too.
He's hilarious.
Like, they wanted to be in the clubhouse on the field and everything. I was like, well, it's not quite like a big league game. They're like, okay, we'll go to the beach.
It's not quite like a big league game. It's the Bushes, kids.
Not for them.
Over Bushes.
Not for them. There was Golden Tea in the clubhouse. Columbus Clubhouse was awesome. Matt was our clubby. He was an amazing dude, and he treated them like gold. So that was their big leagues. That was their big leagues. So they loved it. R.I.P. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's move to our next topic, which has been the most popular topic, I would say, or one of the most popular topics in terms of a single individual player that everyone wants. Yes, we are bringing up Mason Miller again for a reason by spreading rumors.
So I will never see that graphic any different now after Ken Rosenthal, the pro's pro, laughed at that graphic. He's like, I am not spreading rumors. I am not even, you guys are putting those words in my mouth.
Well, he's an insider reporter, and we all know Ken takes his job very seriously. He has risen to the top for good reason. He works tirelessly. So the word rumor can be attributed sometimes to something that's not true, right?
Gossip. Spreading gossip.
Spreading gossip.
Ken
so we're going to give
gossip.
Yeah, if we ever do that seg again with Ken, we'll give it a different name. But
It'd
for
be a
us,
future truth.
We are spreading rumors.
Yeah.
We are not necessarily getting everything from sources. We're just kicking around what other people are saying. So we're helping to spread the message. Anyway, the reason we bring up Mason Miller again is because Ken wrote about him. And we've had many questions about Mason Miller as he dominates the league, by far the best strikeout artist in the league right now. He throws harder than anyone else in the league right now. He's got Duran beat by like a decimal point or two. Although here comes Paul Skenes to challenge that this weekend. We'll get to that later.
Not that
but Ken, not that hard. What, 10 million? Ken posted, A's closer Mason Miller drawing trade interest, but asking price is steep. I will raise my hand and say that I don't think he's going to get dealt. And I was steadfast in replying to certain people over the last couple weeks in saying it would be crazy for him to be dealt. He's not making any money yet, right? He's an ARB guy for the next couple years. You're the A's. You're trying to sell the rest of the league, at least, as in the owners, on the fact that you'll eventually kind of try. So why would you trade the one piece of the puzzle that's actually drawing interest that you could build around, that could be your closer for 10 years? Like, he has the chance to be legendary. They can make the case that he has been through quite a few injuries. He had one last year that knocked out a good chunk of his season. Anyway, let's get to some excerpts from Ken. He said, I'm just taking a piece from the article. Thus, if the Padres wanted Mason Miller at this early stage, just bringing up an example, the A's likely would ask for rookie center fielder Jackson Merrill. Other teams would be hit with similar requests. And he was bringing up what the Baltimore Orioles could do, and it would involve potentially a Kobe Mayo. They're just kicking around scenarios here. So the part that surprised me, though, that might make me eat my words, Kratz, is the fact that Ken said the A's, though, will not rule out trading him. Teams entertain discussions on virtually all players. The performance of most relievers is volatile, and Miller missed almost 4 months last season with a mild UCL sprain in his right elbow. So does this shift any thoughts for you? Were you in my boat where I'm like, this guy? I get it. Like, you can get position players that could make an impact for you in the future. I'm just more thinking about how the A's operate. And I was like, this is the guy you're going to take away with all the bad press you've already been dealing with?
Maybe they're starting a transition of building up a stockpile of players. He would be a guy to get a stockpile of players. But all those guys you just mentioned, I hope they're listening today and they are going to their team and being like, please, I'll stay in AAA. Do not trade me. to
Oh,
do not trade me to the Oakland or whatever the team is going to be called. I do not want to play in a AAA stadium as a big league player. But his value's there. And we've seen it already. We've seen it already with closers. Padres, they don't need a closer. I know it's just a hypothetical. Suarez is like a nothing ERA, and all he throws is speedballs. But the Orioles, we just talked about it yesterday. Cano is a great eighth inning guy. He can get those ground ball situations, bases loaded. He's going to get you a double play. Every team needs a closer. It's surprising the Rangers did what they did because of what Spores and Leclerc did coming into the postseason. They carried them in the postseason. So everybody needs a closer. The price, I think, is just going to be too high. If you're asking for a Jackson Merrill right out the gate, ugh.
What's the A's record? Do we know?
They're close to 500.
Yeah, probably like 2 games under.
I think.
I can find it while you're talking.
If you're not going to be winning too many games right now,
3 games under.
A great closer like he is, and his value is probably never going to be much higher than it is right now because he's under control. He's younger. He's healthy right now. I get the steep asking price, but I also get why Oakland's not saying no to discussion. I don't think you should say no to any discussion for any player ever. I think you should always explore every option as if you're doing your job. But if you can start filling out a roster by trading him, I kind of like it. If you can get 2 or 3 players back that can help fill out a lineup instead of just one guy at the back end of a bullpen who is going to save 40 games for your 60-win season, I'll take the 2 or 3 players.
Agreed.
Okay. I mean, for entertainment purposes, it's fun. If the A's are going to actually...
he's nasty.
He is so nasty. Right. I mean, love to see him in the playoffs for a contender, but he is the only selling point for that team right now. I mean, not the only, but he is the prime selling point for that team right now.
He is one of the guys that I watch, and Kratz, you could probably relate to this, where it's like, thank God I'm not playing anymore. Oh, like, thank God I'm not hitting anymore. He is one of the prime examples of like, oof, I do not want to be in that batter's box for him.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, he looks like he's stepping on it when he is throwing. And he was on the show, and he's not like this like crazy psycho guy. He's like very calm, composed, and like engaging. He was awesome. Was it last week he was on, or was it the week before, Scotty?
It was last week. Yeah, it wasn't the week. It was last week. You got the deep voice. Yeah,
and he just has this aura about him on the mound that you're like, oh boy, like there's some dudes like Juan Soto got blown away. And I considered myself, I could only hit a fastball. I'll cheat like crazy to get to it. I don't know. Like if Juan Soto's not getting to your heater up in the zone, who is?
That's a good point. Kratzy, who would you rather face if you're stepping in the box and you see a closer, would you rather have someone who's like quiet, composed, or do you want someone who has like a whole shtick and is like a lunatic out there? Who do you feel more comfortable batting against?
Batting against?
Yes.
I love facing Chapman. I love facing Kimbrel. They just came out onto the mound and they were just like, it was nice and easy. If you sent Raisel Iglesias up there, I was like, I have no idea what he's going to throw me.
Yeah.
And he's elbows and arms and everything.
Effectively wild.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So more on Mason Miller on Fair Territory. If you want to check it out, brand new episode happened live on this FT network, and you can catch it on the FT YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're on the go a little bit later today, go check it out. Just type in Fair Territory wherever you get your pods. And let's bring in our next guest on FT Live, Ben Nicholson-Smith, joining us to talk a little Blue Jays at the moment. Give him a follow at B Nicholson-Smith. Ben, great to have you on again. And let's get right into the Blue Jays. So this team has had a mediocre start to the season. I'll hit you with a hard one right from the jump. Do you think the Blue Jays will be buyers or sellers 2 months from now?
It's wild because that's an actual question that needs to be asked at this point. And, going into the season, as you guys know, there was a lot of hope that this team could actually be pretty good and that they would be buyers. I mean, that's what they've done for the last 4 years in a row. So to be at this point now, they're 17-20. They have not played well. They've not hit well. They have questions in their bullpen. Obviously, you play it out. It's May the 10th. They still have time. But I think it's becoming a real question. And it's never been easier for me to imagine that they actually might sell.
All right. When is Ross Atkins' name going to be on the block? Because he's already fired a manager. He can't fire my roommate, John Schneider. That's the easy way out. He took the easy way out in the playoffs last year and said, we had nothing to do with it. The proverbial front office had nothing to do with the decision. When does Ross Atkins, if this team doesn't turn around, when is he bounced?
Well, he's facing the heat right now from fans, from media. I think that the way this team has started, very disappointing fashion after a pretty underwhelming offseason for the Jays, that's put pressure on Ross Atkins. And I think you're right, Erik, to say that, you look at, okay, he already had John Gibbons. That was a guy he kind of inherited. Charlie Montoyo, he hired and then fired. John Schneider, he's hired and now extended. So to me, it stands to reason that Ross Atkins probably doesn't get another shot anytime soon to hire another manager. So I think John Schneider, you look at the team that he's been handed and the problems that they've faced, I can't put this on Schneider. I certainly have some questions like batting George Springer leadoff. Not sure that's the best way to go. But end of the day, as you guys know, leadoff, fifth, it's not going to make the entire difference in a season. So I do think that Atkins is going to have to answer some questions if this continues, and who knows, they might make a change.
Ben, this team did not have a great offense last year. You could call it underperforming, although it just hasn't consistently put together, the big numbers that we thought it would. It's happening again this year. So my question is, from the offseason, they went after Ohtani. That was clear. That would have been a massive help for the offense. We all agree with that.
Sure.
Why was that it? Like, I know there was a plan for Ohtani and a plan for everyone else, and that you can go to an astronomical number because of the marketing value that he can bring. I get that. But then why was there such a drop-off after Ohtani to just not work on improving the offense at all?
Yeah. You look at IKF, Kiermaier, Justin Turner. There's nothing against these players. They're obviously good players, but they needed to do more. And I kept thinking, as the offseason went on, like, what about a Rhys Hoskins, for example, or a Willy Adames to try to trade for him from the Brewers? And of course, the price would have been high. The Brewers, we're seeing right now, they're a competitive team. It's not like they would have given Willy Adames away, but there could have been ways to maybe get creative and try to add someone who can be a middle of the order bat, because we're seeing that George Springer, he's fallen off. Bo Bichette having a really, really rough season to this point in the year. Even Vladdy has fallen off. So they have this offensive kind of hole, really, as a team. They're really underperforming offensively. And I think there was a window in the offseason to address some of that. And if you look back at their moves, they were underwhelming at the time. And I agree with you that they continue to look underwhelming now.
Just kind of thinking out loud here. Let's say they hit a little rut, or more of a rut, and become sellers. Is anybody off limits?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think so either.
It would get really interesting, right? Because, okay, so the obvious ones are, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves now. Well,
yes,
obviously,
hypothetical.
Hope, they don't want to go down this path. But I think the obvious ones are Jimmy Garcia and Yusei Kikuchi. I mean, Kikuchi's been amazing now for a full calendar year. He's a guy that you could put into any contender's rotation. He could start playoff games. I mean, the way he's going, I think that he looks like a frontline starting pitcher on the brink of free agency, of course. So that's a guy who moves. Jimmy Garcia, he's been hurt the last 10 days. He hasn't pitched, but he was amazing the entire month of April. So Jimmy Garcia is a guy that, again, you slot him toward the back of a bullpen, any contender would want that guy in the late innings. So those guys, I think, would move, very, very, very likely, because every contender needs pitching. Then you get to, Justin Turner, Danny Jansen, Kevin Kiermaier, those are all pending free agents. So you see what happens there. And of course, the big question, like Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr., which they're free agents after 2025. So there's another year. No one in this Blue Jays organization is going to want to give those guys away. But do you listen, right? Like, do the Dodgers place a call on Bichette? Do the Padres place a call on Vladdy? Like, stranger things have happened. So I think those possibilities are worth considering.
Is it time? Is it time for Danny Jansen to play every day and Alejandro Kirk to just become his backup?
I think it is, partly because the Jays just need the offense. And, we're seeing Danny Jansen just tapping into that pull power. He is so good at just getting around and pulling fly balls. And it's hard to do, especially it seems on this lineup, there are not a lot of guys who are getting the ball in the air and who are hitting for any kind of power, but Danny Jansen can do that. He's been incredible. So, I think that he's someone who, should be out there something like 4 or 5 days a week. Of course, you're going to use Kirk a couple times, but the way Jansen's playing, I know he's had his trouble staying on the field, but he's been incredible. So, I think he should be hitting, 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in the middle of that batting order, playing on a regular basis. And you look at him on a per game basis, like you even it out to 500 plate appearances, 600 plate appearances. This is like a 30 home run hitter. Like, he's actually got some real power.
What have you noticed if you've been covering them for a while now, when you've seen Manoah come back? Have you noticed anything, the difference in him or what he looks like or what you see, why the results just aren't there right now?
It's been quite a ride, as you guys know, for Manoah. I mean, you look back a couple of years, he was great. He was a Cy Young finalist. Then, last year, he wasn't in the greatest shape. And so even if you compare the video last year to this year, you can tell he's more athletic on the mound. So that's a step forward. Even, his momentum, his delivery has gotten more athletic. He's moving down the mound better. He's able to channel that energy down the mound better and harness it toward home plate. But still, he's not to the point that he's consistently throwing strikes. And I've talked to people who say, he's not fully repeating his delivery yet. I mean, it's one start back, so he still has some time maybe to work through that. But the delivery and the strike throwing is what I'm looking at, just to see if he can consistently repeat that and get to the point that he is throwing strikes and getting ahead instead of falling behind 2-0, 2-1 to really good hitters.
Stats, body shape, all that stuff, we can see that on TV. What is the mental? Have you talked to him? What is his mental side in the sense of like his confidence, the things that you can see? I'm not saying to get into his head, but the things that you can see. Is there a difference?
Yeah. I actually think he's in a better mental place this year than last year. And that's from talking to him in spring training. I wasn't there in Washington this past weekend when he made that start, but he's been around the team pretty consistently this year, and he seems like he's in a pretty good headspace. So that's a step in the right direction. I mean, it's not everything, but it's a step in the right direction. I think compared to last year, it actually does seem like he's in a better place.
I'm going to bring some positive vibes. I love watching Dalton Varsho in the outfield. Do you think he has a shot of winning the Platinum Glove? And can you tell us how the development has been for him, the outfield? I just want to remind everyone that he was a catcher and he was super athletic, and it was a catcher outfielder who can run and then starts to pick up steam in the outfield, and that becomes his home. And now he's potentially the best defensive outfielder, at least top 3 in baseball. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been impressive to watch. He's so good out there. And this is in an outfield where you also have Kevin Kiermaier. So, we've seen some pretty elite outfielders defensively here in the last year or two. But Varsho's incredible. He just gets great jumps. He's fast out there. He is really good at making those kind of judgment calls with his body, whether to dive, whether to crash into a wall. He never seems in between. Like, it always seems like he's making the right call. That's not an easy thing to do, I'm sure. So he just has great instincts. He's making good decisions. He's fast. It's just all adding up. It's an incredible combination out there. And I think when you look at the numbers, obviously, that tells you he's objectively the best defensive outfielder in baseball since the Jays acquired him. And that's a huge difference for this pitching staff.
Ben, if I go through all the archives, did you write a bad article about my friend, the fact that they traded Gabriel Moreno for Dalton Varsho last year, and Dalton Varsho hit hit what he hit? Because you have to be honest. Did you write anything bad last year about my guy Dalton?
I honestly don't think I did. I mean,
Okay.
there were enough problems with that
You were the
team.
one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, everyone knows Moreno had a great season. Obviously, that was a tough one for the Jays, especially the way he did in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, look, you can look through my archive. I've written a lot of bad articles. I've had a lot of bad takes. I'm just saying that maybe that might specifically not be one. So
Good,
I'm not saying
good.
I've had my whiffs. Don't worry. But
I like it.
But
I
yeah,
like it.
I think that he's been amazing for this team. Obviously.
Well, Ben, thank you for the catch up. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll have you back, especially if we start to hear all those big names fly around. If this team doesn't turn things around in a super competitive division, go check out Ben's work. Gave the Twitter handle also on Sportsnet. You can see him, read about him, the whole deal. Ben, thank you so much. Appreciate you, man.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Ben Nicholson-Smith with us on FT Live. We'll post some of these clips. You can check out his Twitter handle as well. Okay, moving on. Let's get to some baseballism questions. Here we go. Someone is knocking on my door furiously right now. They're going to have to wait an entire hour. Sucks to suck. Anyway, all right. First off, Kip, welcome to the party here. We're excited to have Baseballism as part of the FT fam. Show off some of the tees. Who's got it today? Who's modeling?
I got you. Coming through. Got to get the Baseballism's blocking me right now. We're going to stand up. We got the kid on.
Nice.
Let's see.
So cool.
Oh, what
the
do we got?
line is so awesome.
Is it coming?
Yeah. No, that's good.
There we go.
I got my swing from the kid. The Griffey line. That's fire. So you can get those shirts over at Baseballism. Check out the QR code at the bottom. Also, check out the website. Let's get to some of our questions that we've been asking all week. There it is again, baseballism.com. Kip takes center stage for this one. Question number 1. If you did not play baseball for a living, what would you be doing for a job?
Probably coaching and teaching.
Really?
Yeah. I think if I didn't play, I'd still love sports and being around it and every aspect of it. So if you can't play, you got to coach is my guess. See, I like it. Or at least maybe my answer's changed recently too, because I've just started to get into coaching a little bit and I'm starting to like it more and more. So if you asked me this maybe like last year, might have a different answer. But right now I'm starting to like coaching.
I thought you were going to say hospitality or restaurant biz, something like that, because you're in that world too.
No.
I
don't go into
that
hospitality business. I love it, but it's just it's not for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day that grind would not have been you.
No. I'm finding out. That was a fun one for me. It still is fun for me. The process of like deciding like little designs here and there, menu stuff and decor and all this stuff. It's a blast, but it's just an everyday thing that weighs on you from time to time. So sports I can handle. The hospitality business has been beating me up right now.
Fair. Okay, so I'll give you an easier one. When did you fall in love with the game of baseball?
God, early. I'm sure for most baseball players too, it was real early because I think like I was definitely one of those kids 4, 5, 6 who's in his backyard hitting wiffle balls, pretending it's bottom of the ninth, stuff like that. I tried to play every single sport I could. But the one constant was baseball, right? The one constant. That was the one sport that just never was a question. I'm playing baseball every single year. So the other ones changed a little.
Okay. And then lastly, besides your own team, we've been asking this to players, obviously your former team. So we'll just knock off the Indians/Guardians. Favorite uniforms in baseball?
Ooh, favorite uniforms. Huh. Who has some?
Did you ever play a team where you're like, I'd look fresh in those?
None's coming to mind right now immediately but like the old school like Mariners cut sleeves, I thought were awesome. I like having you know who I do like actually right now? I really like the city jerseys of the Orioles. So I'm gonna
Oh,
go
the
with the
City
Orioles.
Connect for Baltimore.
Yeah,
Really?
I do. I really like those. The all blacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good look. Kratzy's disagreeing. You don't like them?
I don't want to ruin the baseballism content.
What don't you like? It's too much flair for you. You don't have enough pieces of flair.
There was so much they could do, and I don't even know much about Baltimore. They had no flair. It was mine. That was like a jersey that they were like, "Hey, could we get the most Kratz jersey we have? Slap that John right on them." They could have done so much more. I even told Jonesy that.
So for the classics, the Mariners cut.
The Mariners cut, the old Pirates, I think, with like the striped hats, stuff like that. But like in just today's game, I'm trying to think of which one I like the most, but not really sure. Nothing's popping off to me right now.
No, those both fit the bill. That works.
Okay.
Good job. You're off the hot seat. Check out
Hey.
Baseballism, the official lifestyle brand of baseball. QR codes on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast right now, baseballism.com. We'll show off some of the tees throughout the season. All right, let's look ahead. It is Friday. Do we have a favorite series this weekend? I can throw some candidates out there.
What do you got?
Yankees, Rays. We didn't really talk about yesterday, but the Astros got one back. There was some freaking mammoth homers yesterday between Astros, Yankees too. I mean, some people in the chat were like, hello, 473 feet from Judge. It was 440 something from Singleton to the facing of the third deck. Yeah, I'm here now, and I got in late last night, so I can't totally speak to the game temp. It wasn't that warm yet. I mean, I got in last night at like 11:30 p.m. It was like 50s.
What did Max Muncy say?
80-degree night.
What did Max Muncy say the other day? He said might have gotten one of those 2019 balls. They might have. Old Kakuza might have. Old Robbie might have gotten into the box. Oh, what's this case? Come on, guys. Here, rub these up. All right.
They're all like shiny.
Oh, they're all
like in a movie scene where it's like shiny,
they're
glowing.
I think there's a clear answer for best series this weekend.
What
do you got?
Hope you pick mine.
Is it Padres Dodgers? I think those are always fun games. Is that the one you were thinking?
No, it's not. I'm going more Midwest. I mean, the Pirates have I'm watching tonight's matchup with Jared Jones. I know it's Javier Assad, but then tomorrow night.
Assad's great, by the way. Don't hate
Assad's
on him.
Great. But Assad's not. Yeah, but he's not Jared Jones. He's not the hype of Skenes. Pittsburgh is going to be just like pulsing. I hope they black out or they do something.
I do too. I hope they
the whole stadium
should be.
Kip, that place can get ruckus. And to me, that should be the epicenter right now of baseball. Our eyes should be on that series. Nothing against the Dodgers and Padres. I think that competition, that rivalry has been growing, and I think the Padres need to punch back right now.
I think one of my favorite memories of a Pittsburgh crowd was it Cueto that dropped the ball on the mound?
Yep.
Oh, and they just absolutely let him hear it about that. They were all over him, and when they're going well, that is one of the best crowds in baseball.
I know, because I made my debut there on a weekend where we were playing the Astros. The Pirates and the Astros at the All-Star break, brutal teams. They were out. They came out 30, 35,000, 30, I think like 29,000, a 3-game series for my first series ever in the big leagues. The place shows up, and they will show up. They should all show up this whole weekend. It should be a big old tailgate out in the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium.
What a pretty backdrop too.
Oh, best in the big leagues. Second best in baseball, best in the big leagues.
First being
Charlotte.
I love Charlotte. Good answer.
Right?
I like that a lot, actually. I really like that answer. Charlotte's right in the middle of the city. It's an awesome. Yeah.
Right there. Just check it out. Just check it out. We're full service baseball.
I didn't know Charlotte had a big league team.
They do.
Not
They
yet.
do?
Soon.
Yeah.
I haven't
It's
been
an
there
awesome.
though.
It's an
I'd love
awesome
to see that.
stadium. Or awesome backdrop. You're just right in the middle of the city. It's great.
Backdrop. And great place to hit too. Woo, dingers.
Great place to hit.
Mhm.
Dingers.
By the way, if you want more Paul Skenes content, we have tons. We have prospect profiles on Baseball America's page. We have Ken talking about it yesterday. We spent 20 minutes to start the show on Skenes, so check all of that out all over the YouTube channel and the podcast pages and the whole deal. One more for me. I started going down this route, but Yankees Rays, because they don't like each other for years, because they're both pretty good, and because the Rays now have Jose Caballero, who I think is their Sean Rodriguez. So it just adds a little bit of an element of you say the wrong thing or you get hit by a pitch and you're like, is he going to do it? Is he going to go?
It's a bad day. It's a bad day to be a water cooler.
Right. He doesn't do that, but he does like to start a fire here and there, and I like it. I think it brings a little edge. Rays have gotten into a few little things already this year. It's not all him. I mean, you had the one with him and Cabrera.
And then Jose Siri.
Well,
with
Siri and the Brewers. Yes. That was the more recent one. So anyway, we'll see. The Rays are maybe number one power rankings, most likely team to clear the benches right now.
That's such
highest
fake
odds.
news.
Highest odds.
It's not even a real thing.
I think it's a real thing.
Quickest trigger.
I'm not saying it as a bad thing. I think it can bring you an edge. They've had 2 or 3 already this year. Just saying. All right, we'll be right back. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Foul Territory. Unified Healing is an innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness and deep relaxation, and there are hundreds of locations across the globe. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifydhealing.com/foul to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/FOUL. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System.
Now based on wait a minute. What? I thought Don Kelly was coming on.
Man,
not Radley Haddad.
You couldn't get Donnie. You're not big enough yet.
What? Come on. You know we got Don. We got big. Jeez Louise. I gotta talk to the Pirates.
Give him the proper intro, though.
All right.
Game planning and strategy coach, aficionado. No. Okay.
No.
What do you got?
Best looking, slightest hips of any coach in all of Major League Baseball. Radley Haddad, strategy, bench coach, bench assistant coach, and pretty decent BP.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Not too shabby.
Well, it's
How are
great
you,
to have you on. How you doing?
Good to see you. Thanks for the long-winded intro, Erik. Always 99% bullshit meter.
Yeah.
What?
Me? What?
He's your hype man, though. Okay, so I got the perfect starter based on the intro we just made. If you like the movie Office Space. So what is it that you do here, Radley?
Yeah, of all these shows and podcasts I've been on, that is a hot topic. Pretty much revolves around player deployment, right? So trying to put our guys in the best position to succeed. Main focus on the pitching side, dabble a little bit on the hitting side, but mostly giving our guys the tools for success and trying to put them in spots where they can get out there and just be themselves without having to think too much, Spend a lot of time with Donnie Kelly, a lot of time with Shelty and our pitching guys, making sure we're doing the best thing we can and putting our guys in spots where they can just get out there and let it rip with their strengths.
Now, are those strengths being, yes, I know you do absurd amounts of research and work to get those things. Would you, if I dumb down your position, would you say you're an intermediary between front office / analytics and on-field coaches?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I spend a lot of time interfacing with our R&D department. We have added a clubhouse analyst this year. He's been great for us. So he and I spend a lot of time together, just trying to make sure everybody's aligned and, the player plan, the singular focus for our guys, the goals that they have on their player plans are coming through. And we can work with our coaches to take their feedback as well, right? And see that they're seeing things that maybe the front office or the analytics are missing, that we need to pay attention to the human element too. So I feel like it's an important position. I feel impactful, and I hope that our players and coaches feel the same way. But Pirates are on the up and up, man. I think we're coming.
Listen, I'm going to give you a hard time, but I will also say Radley Haddad is an up-and-coming person on his own. You are a hard worker. I saw what you did with the Yanks. I know how you conversate. I'm not even going to let you respond because you're starting to blush and you already know what I'm saying, so you believe it. But what's one thing that you have found or that the Pirates have found that you can let us in on, that you can let us know that you found that the R&D department or the front office or the analytic, whatever department you're finding it from, went and told a player and the player was like, wait, I can do that? What? I'm that good at pulling the ball, or this is my superpower? Because I assume that's what you're trying to find is your superpower for all your players to be the best they can be.
Sure. Yeah. Leverage the strengths. Yeah, I think one good example is we acquired Ryan Barocki last year. I don't know, you guys have been around. I've seen him, former starter with the Blue Jays. Really nice.
Awesome. Yep.
You do. Oh, he's in the book.
Yeah, tell him.
Pre-Pirates book, though. He's a different guy now.
There you go.
Oh. So you unlocked something. Oh, my bad.
What we unlocked is the strike zone. Just throw it over, man. He was nibbling a lot, didn't trust his stuff. We just let him believe in his stuff, man. It's no secret, right? Or in baseball right now, you're seeing articles written about the Mariners really commanding the zone well, throwing strikes. That's something that just put Ryan in a really good position for success, is winning counts and putting himself, in pitcher leverage counts where he can let his best stuff rip, and then you end up getting more chase and better results. So we are sure with every guy trying to figure out what's the one skill you guys can do the best. You read about fly ball pull, leveraging your launch angle, things that guys really unlock. But right now for us, with a lot of our young talent and guys we're acquiring, it's just being able to own the zone, man. Best stuff in the strike zone.
What's the vibe like with this big boy coming up that's pitching for you guys here soon? Team's got to be excited to add someone like that to the rotation. Which one? Yeah, with Skenes coming.
Yeah,
he's obviously done everything he needs to do in AAA.
There's a different buzz around the park today, man. I would say there's been two moments. This is my third year with the Pirates. There's been two moments that have been like, oh wow, this is a big deal for the city. The first one was in the wintertime, the first time we signed McCutchen. I was actually at the Children's Museum with my daughter, and I saw some guy check his phone, and he just screamed out of nowhere, "Oh my gosh, he's back!" And I was like, wow, this is a big deal. McCutchen's coming back, putting on the black and yellow again. And then today with Paul being here, obviously big name, number one prospect. Everybody's been really looking forward to this day since the day he signed with us. Had an awesome spring, really enjoyed getting to know him, watching him compete. And then, tomorrow is going to be a big day. Like you guys were talking about earlier, the city of Pittsburgh will come alive, and I'm sure they'll come out and support him, and it'll be a great atmosphere. So we're pumped for him.
Why now? Why did Pittsburgh make the decision now to bring him up?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kip, man. I think that I'm going to leave that to Ben in the office to give you the real answer there. But there were a lot of boxes to check as far as just getting accustomed to the pro workload, the rotation, making sure that he has, that routine under his belt, the four-day rest routine. Just getting the innings, man, getting the reps under his belt where he feels comfortable and ready to come up here and be his true self and just let himself get out there and compete without having to think about all the different variables that go into being a pro baseball player as opposed to pitching on 7 at LSU.
Has Paul thrown a bullpen? Did he get called up and then come up to the big leagues and throw a bullpen in front of the coaches, or like he would on his regular rest and regular work?
Yeah, so he's pitched on 4 twice now. We've had multiple touch points with him, right? Our assistant director of pitching, Jeremy Bleich, has been on him, since spring training about the things that are important to get you to the big leagues and maintain your performance in the big leagues, and the things that you'll have to deal with that will change in your routine. So he is prepared as anybody. He works as hard as anybody. I think you'll see it pay fruition tomorrow when he goes out there and shows.
Wait, so I'm asking, did he throw in Pittsburgh, or did he not throw and he threw in Pittsburgh? So before he came up, his first day when he was in the clubhouse with the team, with the big league team, did he know who you were?
I met him yesterday, right? I met him in spring too. So yeah, we've been.
But did he remember you? Rad, did he
Yeah.
remember you?
Yeah.
No, he did. You're such a liar. You're such a liar. He's like, you are who? Because he's a first round. He's a first pick. It's okay, Rad. It's okay. I just want to make sure you know that, because I'm going to preface that by asking my next question. Okay? Who's going to be better by the time their career is over? Paul Skenes or Jared Jones?
I'm not touching that one, bro.
What?
No chance.
One time. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Way. No way.
All right.
They're both going to be Cy Young contenders for years to come for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay. But then what does Jared Jones do that's better than Paul Skenes, and what does Paul Skenes do that's better than Jared Jones?
Too early to say for me on Paul, right? I've known Jared way more than I know Paul, but I think what makes Jared special is his mindset, man. He is just absolutely give me the ball, let me rip. I'm not afraid of anything. That like FU mindset we dream about guys having. He's got every single bit of it. So he embodies our philosophy here of best stuff in zone. I'm sure you guys have seen all the hype around him throwing strikes, just pounding the zone with fastballs and sliders, and he's found an ability to mix some curveballs and changeups in there too. So everything he's doing for us right now is special. Everything we like, and excited to see Paul do the same thing.
I like that. How much do you think that will impact a team over the course of a marathon? I bring up the Mariners a lot because they also are big on best stuff in zone, and I would guess that they're usually ending up with more innings from their starters the last few years. Sure, some of it has to just do with the talent, but I think some of that has to do with the mentality. That spills over to the bullpen. You're only allowed to have a certain number of arms, and some arms get used way too much in the first half of the season. So is this all part of a larger plan?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see the game changing a little bit, right? You hear the whispers about they're going to try and incentivize starting pitchers going deep in games, and you guys know as well as anybody, how do you do that? You got to be efficient. You can't have 20, 25, 30 pitch innings. So you do that by attacking the strike zone and taking your quick outs when you can get them. We talk a lot about in our pitching philosophy, our game plan meetings, like finding the guys that you want to be able to punch, and then the guys that you know are low strikeout, like just get them out as quick as possible. 3 innings, 3 pitches or less. That'll help you pitch deep into games. So, yes, the Mariners do have really talented pitchers, but they also do all of the process things right. They attack it. They get quick outs. And we are trying to embody that as well, about just like best stuff in zone, repeat it.
Brad, can you give me a name, 2, 3, whatever you want? You don't have to pick just one favorite that you've seen a lot of growth from, and you see a few more levels that you think are going to be unlocked. That could be anywhere. That could be current roster, minor league roster, pitcher, hitter, whatever.
Yeah, sure thing. Kyle Nichols is a guy that came up for us about 2 weeks ago. He was at the start of the year in the minor leagues, but now he's sitting 99, 100 miles an hour, really starting to believe in himself. 2 nasty breaking balls. If this guy continues on his trajectory, I think you got a lights out reliever there. Best stuff in zone, man. Guy in our minor leagues I'm excited to see is Thomas Harrington. Went through a little bit of a hiccup at the end of spring with some shoulder stuff. But he's got special stuff and special makeup as well. He's a Campbell University guy. Looking forward to him getting healthy and flying up our system a little bit too.
All right. A word came up yesterday that me or AJ Brzezinski had never heard, or a phrase, dead zone fastball. Do you know what that is?
I do.
I had never heard of it until yesterday.
Those are the ones you used to hit, bud.
Come on.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. Wait, I can add context too, because Trevor May is part of our roster, and he talks about it quite a bit. And I was texting with him this morning because I brought it up to Kyle Gibson. He knew what I was talking about. He just didn't use that specific terminology. And Kyle's a vet. He's been in the game for a while. But Trevor's like, he said, most dudes know what it is. It's a newer term. So that's the part that some guys are just learning. But I like the term dead zone fastball.
Yeah, and I think one other element, I don't know how deep you guys got on it, though, but it is the arm slot component of it, right? Like Paul Sewald technically throws a dead zone fastball from a induced vertical break and horizontal break standpoint, but his slot makes it unique, right? So you have to take arm slot and release point into account when talking about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is there something that you coach against a dead zone fastball in the sense that like as a team, because that's what you're trying to do, you're trying to maximize your player. If it shows up as a dead zone fastball or what would it be considered before? Like when I played, like a light fastball, a fastball that doesn't have as much life and it doesn't have as much stink.
It doesn't play up, or it's not sneaky, it's flat, right? Like it just gives you less room for error to let it work, right? Like you see these guys like Jared Jones, who has a plus heater, he can throw it down the middle and get really good results repeatedly. So the guy that you're like, oh man, that just looks different, it feels different when I'm catching it, that's the non-dead zone, right?
So how do you coach against that? You know, I'll bring up our old buddy Kale Kosho. Kale Kosho threw 100 miles an hour. He was 250 pounds of sheer, just chiseled muscle, and he threw 100 miles an hour, and you would see the ball better. You know, Brandon League, 100 miles an hour, you'd see the ball better. So how do you, as the performance strategic enhancement of Smiles coach, how do you coach that? How do you teach them? What do you tell them? Hey, bud, work on a slider because your heater ain't playing, kid.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time for a while there where like the game was the threat of velocity, like just chase as much velo as you can and then throw it soft. Like as long as you had the threat of velocity, your pitch mix was going to play. And that's probably where a guy like Kale Kosho should have been, is like have the threat of 100 in your pocket, but don't throw it as much as you are. As far as coaching it, right, like there's things, seam orientation is becoming something that's on the kind of the cutting edge of pitch design, or making guys' pitches play better than they currently are, right? Making sure you have optimal seam orientation that helps the ball move in the right way. Guys that throw hard that might have dead zone four seamers are now throwing two seamers, right? Because it's a less damaged pitch. Two seamers just inherently get put on the ground more, so there's not as much fly ball, not as much homer, so you're able to suppress contact and then lean on your off-speed stuff to get miss. Yeah, I mean, you could throw cutters. There's a lot of things that like dead zone fastball guys are starting to lean on now, instead of just saying, oh, this is my fastball, there's nothing I can really do about it. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's how we would approach it.
No, that's good. I think that's good. I think you hit
my back too, because
I didn't say it was not a thing. I just said
no. They were giving me crap yesterday. It not as much on the show, and it was more AJ, and he's not here, so it's always great to pick on a friend when he's not there. But in our little chat, he was like, "Scott making up terms."
No, I think Kip used to be able to get to that like high ride top of the zone heater. Kratz, you just straight on the dead zone guys. Brad, check the tape, okay? I've got like 17 hits in the show, okay? A lot of them were on True Media, bro. I've seen all the tape there is to see.
I don't think
people fully understand a coach's schedule or the hours that you guys put in or what you guys do from morning to night. Can you walk us through, like, give us one of your days, just a daily schedule?
Yeah, today's wild, right? So first day of a series. Well, I have two kids under 3, so this morning I'm up at 6:30 with my daughter.
You slept well.
Yeah, for about an hour and a half, 90 minutes. I'm good.
The old dog, just making kids.
Get to the park, around 11. Usually have some sort of a pitching scrum. This is just my day today. A pitching scrum, talking about things that are happening with our pitchers, some trends, some things we want to focus on. Maybe some pitch usage or movement tweaks, message to our catchers, those things. We're playing the Cubs, so we'll talk with our catchers specifically about how we want to attack the Cubs hitters. We'll all get on the same page. We'll listen to Grandal and Joey Bart talk about what they saw in their prep, and we'll kind of supplement their information there. Little breather right now, and then we'll have a 3:30 pitchers meeting. We'll have all the pitchers in a room, and we'll give them the information that they need to attack the Cubs. We'll go outside, do BP, do throwing program. We'll have our staff pitching script, which basically is like, if everything goes according to plan, here's how we would ideally deploy our pitching tonight, right? We have Jared starting, so we'll let him run. We'll identify some hot spots in the lineup of matchups that might be a little bit tricky for him, or spots that we might like a certain reliever. And then we'll go from there on, where's the best spot for each guy. Give up Shelty a pocket of hitters there. And then after that, we run out for the game. I'm a guy who likes to go home and work a little bit more after the game. So I'll go home tonight and I'll start getting ready for Milwaukee. I'll review tonight's game and then do it all over again tomorrow. It's a pretty good day.
Do you print out more or less papers than you used to have to print out when you were on the staff with the Yankees?
We are much less printing than it was 5 years ago. We use those iPads pretty heavy, but we still have the guys that like the hard copy. Erik, you seem like one of those guys.
You seem like one of those guys that used to cut whole forests down. You were at the printing machine.
My man, I was arts and crafts director over there. It was copy, paste, cut, slice stuff. It was unbelievable.
Yellow, green, red, fit it in my wristband. I loved it when you had to switch a wristband and hand it to me, and I just put it in my pocket and never used it. I loved that because you were just so tired. Anyway, Scotty's got a real question for you.
No, I love that. I can imagine, just back to how this combo started, Erik coming into the office. Do you have those TPS reports?
That's right. And then he'd just grab them right in front of my face. He'd be like, oh, yeah, these right here.
All right, last one. Fan question, because we talked about Jones. We talked about Skenes. Let's talk about the dude that's there for the long term and also has elite stuff. So this from Rod. Mitch Keller has been great, has great stuff. Why isn't he an ace yet? Right? Like, why don't we have it consistently? And I know he's talked about it too. So what's your view of how he can consistently put together some of those strong starts that we see, not every time, but, he's capable of going 7-8 innings. I know he had the CG the other day. What do you see?
I'm going to anchor back to the thing I've been beating you over the head with is strikes. When he has his good games, he is pounding strike one. He's ahead in the count. He's got 7 pitches, right? So, getting ahead for him, the hitter is lost. They have no idea what's coming. He's able to do so many more things. When he falls behind and has to lean on some things over the middle or has to get a little predictable, that's when he gets in trouble. So strikes, first pitch strikes, being ahead 2 out of 3, that really is the secret to Mitch Keller pitching deep in games like he did the other day.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Rad. This was great.
You're welcome.
You fended off Kratz. Really appreciate the insight, though. Perfect timing to have you on, too. Huge weekend. All eyes will be on the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we appreciate the schedule, too. People don't realize that when they say, I want to get into baseball. Listen to this conversation first and make sure you know.
Yeah, we love it, though. We love it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Y'all.
You too, Radley. Thank you so much.
See you, Kratz.
Radley Haddad. See ya. Gonna have a big weekend, doing a lot behind the scenes for the Pirates. The unsung heroes.
For real, that guy, he's gonna be, unless his family grows too much and he's like, I got to get out of the game or I got to shift priorities and schedule and everything. He'll be something in the game. Minor league catcher, transitioned right into helping the big league staff, coaching in New York. He gets it. He gets it, and he's good communicating.
What though? What would you? And forget, obviously he's probably got his sights on something. What would, if you're running a team and he's years in, is he a manager? Is he in the front office?
I think he could be a general manager.
General manager. Nice.
I mean, if that's still, I don't know what the hierarchy is. Maybe president of baseball operations, whatever that is. Whatever. I think he can make those decisions. Does he want to do that? No, I think he could be. I think he could be a manager if he wants to. Because the game doesn't, he understands the game, but he also understands the people in the game, which I think that's what managers need to do. Yes, you have to be able to understand what he was talking about, like putting pitchers in different pockets of the other, the opposing team's lineup. It's stuff that catchers talk about all the time. As a manager, you have to be able to manage people, and he gets people and he has that connection. So that's why I think he's going to be, whatever he wants to do, that's where he'll end up. That will be his apex.
Well, props to Kratz, because we get some of these coaches like Radley on sometimes, and it's great. They're really good. That's really good insight from him. So good stuff, man. Good get.
That was fun.
Let's do some picks. BetMGM locks. But first, your free game of the day, really talking about the weekend. Braves Mets is another series that we probably won't have too much time to talk about today, although we also have a new show called Hammer Territory if you want to learn more about what's going on with ATL. And of course, they'll cover the Braves on that one too. So it is the MLB free game of the day, streaming on the BetMGM app, available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. And on Sunday, Phillies Marlins is your free game of the day. So there's your 2 games. Enjoy them. Braves Mets should be pretty good.
Yeah.
But why are you making a face?
It'll be a
Because
fun
Phillies Marlins might be 15-2.
Marlins, I might take the over in that game. Just saying. Phillies
Do you
might
know
go
what the
down.
pitching matchup is? Did you already look?
Yeah, it's the Phillies.
Just blanket statement. It's the Phillies.
The Braves-Mets game tonight should be more hyped. But, I mean, East Coast game, NL East teams, Mets are hanging around. They're a 500 team. That's of those 2 games, that's the one. That's the one that we should be tuning into. So my app will make sure I charge my phone so my app is live and hot.
There you go. Okay, so let's stay hot. We had a pretty good day yesterday. Kratz was on a run, so he was due. But Tobias Myers hit that K prop for me easy. Cardinals offense, the beginning of that game especially, was swing and miss city. I think he ended up with 6 over 4. And the over was 3.5 that I hit. AJ hit his White Sox money line prop. Just bet. So fitting that he's not on the day after he gets a huge dub.
Well,
And Kratz, we'll just shove it aside.
Stroman picked up his 5th punch out just so he picked it up. Went 5-5. Both of them went 5-5. I had the under. He was getting that comeback sinker last night. Had I known the umpire was going to give him extra on the outside corner, I wouldn't have taken the under, but the over would have paid big time because he was plus money on the over. Anyway.
Yeah, you got to research your umps. You probably do. You're not?
No,
all right, well, that's the next
level. I
would
never do that.
That's your next level. If you think he's bad now, he's about to get crazy. All right, Kip, you start us off here. What's your lock this weekend, or really tonight?
I didn't know about the weather. I just saw that in the comments section, but I took the over in Braves Mets. I think it was at 8 runs. I got those offenses having a good night tonight.
I'm okay with that. Why? What's the? Oh, because it's supposed to rain.
Yeah,
Is that what they're saying? Yeah, I'm here right now. It's not a great day. It's been on and off, and I think that's going to be the case.
Maybe they'll throw the ball away or boot something around and
throw it around a little bit.
Yeah, a little wet ball. Get
Slip
some
and
extra
slide
runs
ball.
in there. That's my lock.
Okay.
Could be stopping. You could get in. As they would say, Kip, we got a window.
Yeah, I hate that term.
You
I hate that
term. Everyday players hate that term. Bench guys, yep, this might be my chance.
What are you rolling with today?
I'm picking on the Rockies. John Gray started the day out at his line was set at 6.5 Ks. Patience is a virtue. Now the line is at 5.5, so I'm taking the over. He has hit that. Shoot, I wrote it down, and now I forget how many times he's hit it. He has hit it a lot. The Rockies are second in the league in strikeout percentage as a team. And in Coors Field, John Gray has gone over 6 strikeouts in 90% of his career starts in Coors Field. So, and he was a Rocky. So that's saying something. All that to say, I'm also putting the money line with the Rangers. It's paying me plus 110.
Nice. Good job. Yeah, because if you just roll money line without the K prop, I think it was like minus
190. 190, yeah. I think, yeah.
So I like that game too. I'm glad we're on the same page there. John Gray, revenge game. Rangers, I think, are going to have a freaking field day today in Colorado. And I've got them on the money line plus San Francisco. Giants, coming off a series win, but like we talked about at the top of the show, not playing well overall. I think they come back home. It's Logan Webb stopper day, and they start to get them on the right side of things. I think the Reds offense continues to struggle in San Francisco. So I've got those 2 teams for plus 157. That's bold for me. You know where I'm at usually. I'm usually like a plus 110, minus 120, in that ballpark. I'm going for it a little bit tonight.
Did I need to pick a second one? Everybody's got 2.
No, we're just parlaying today. I usually don't. It's just what I'm doing today. I don't know why, but 100 down to win 157. I'm all cocky because I came off a win yesterday that I felt really good about. So we'll see. I'm going to, it's heat check. You got to see.
Letting it ride. Letting it
feeling
ride.
a little?
No
Yeah.
doubt.
And then we didn't get a video Pat pick, but we did get a submission from him to count on his ledger. So I do need to get the money. We'll post that, what he's putting down, or somebody tell me in the chat what he's putting
Probably
down.
like $6, $6 or $7. No,
Yeah,
no
probably. He's got Philly money line and he's got Cleveland money line tonight. So he's got the Phillies and the Guardians to win. He's putting down 200 to win whatever 2 times 191 is. Everyone else can have fun and do that math. It's Friday. I'm having a day, so I don't feel like doing it. All right. Next up, first, I want to remind everyone about the Grand Slam Jackpot promotion, which is running on weekends on the BetMGM app, AKA if you do a home run parlay pick, this is the only spot that you should be looking. Why? Because if you place $10 or more on any player to hit a home run on a weekend day, and that includes Friday, if that player hits a grand slam on that day, you can win a $50,000 daily prize or a share of the prize with every other winning better on that particular day. So let's do a home run pick, a grand slam jackpot pick. It could be for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Kip, who do you think's going long with dudes on base? That's a key.
I'm going to Cleveland. I'm going Jose Ramirez, hitting the long ball today. Never a bad pick to bet on him. So
he's got a few grand slams in his.
I think a lefty's on the mound for Chicago, and I got a being a slider even too.
Wow!
Ooh.
On a breaking ball to left field.
That
He's
may
going to
pay
pull
extra.
it. Yeah,
that may pay extra.
On a slider.
I've seen enough of it. I know it. He looks like he's coming. He's due for one.
All right, so he's at plus 360 to go long. Oh, Kratz, you going in the same game?
I am going the same game. I was watching the Cleveland game. The number is crazy. Josh Naylor has over 1,000 OPS against lefties this year. In the last 2 seasons, he's hitting .446 at whatever the heck the White Sox stadium's called these days. Comiskey Park, Cellular One
Guaranteed
Stadium.
rate.
Guaranteed rate field, .446. So my guy Josh Naylor is coming out at plus 525 too. I saw that money. I was like, I like
pick.
it. Against
He's a
Crochet,
stud.
he's going to give him a heater.
Going heater.
Better chance against White Sox bullpen, but still, I'm rooting for you guys. Counts the same.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you didn't say yours.
Who you going with?
Mine's the same way. So I got talked into Judge at plus 200. Okay, but we're looking for a granny. He's hot right now. And the Rays bullpen is not as sharp as it's been the last several years. Taj Bradley's starting tonight. I don't know how deep he's going to go into the game. I love Taj Bradley and his stuff. I think he is going to be a 2 or a 3 in our game long term. He's coming off the injury, right? So
Taj
you get a few innings out of Taj. What?
He went 92 pitches in his last start. I was looking at that because the K prop's real low. He went 92 pitches in his last rehab start. So he might be out there for 95 to 100.
Okay, so maybe 5 out of Taj. And then 7th inning, Judge, bases loaded, nowhere to put him.
Ooh.
So that's my pick. We'll see what happens. Good luck to everyone's picks this weekend. And let's hit a hot corner. Quick, hottest team in baseball right now is?
Philadelphia
I don't
Phillies.
know. Phillies?
Twins.
AL? What about AL?
Twins?
Twins
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Twins for sure. You know, you sometimes you build up that long winning streak. And what did it get to? 12, I believe.
12,
that was broken last Sunday. Yeah. Well, they're still thriving. That was the medicine for the offense because they're scoring now. They've won 15 of 17. They beat down the Mariners 11-1 yesterday. They're beating good pitching against Seattle, right? They beat up Gilbert and Kirby. Not many people can say that. Kepler's on fire. They took down 3 out of 4 against Seattle. And now they have 3 against Toronto. If you want to learn more about what's going on with the Jays, we spoke to Ben Nicholson-Smith earlier about Toronto, but they have scored 5 or more runs in 13 of their last 17 games. Kip, who did you pick to win the AL Central? Do you remember?
Probably Cleveland.
You
But
really?
that was a homer. That was a homer pick. If not
Okay.
then it was the Twins probably.
Okay.
But yeah, I think
I
went
went
Cleveland.
Twins. You went Cleveland. Yeah, I went Twins,
Yeah.
but yeah, was pondering or was considering Detroit. Erik ended
No,
up
you
going
weren't.
Detroit.
You went
Erik went Detroit.
Well, Erik can do a homer pick for half the league.
What does that mean?
You played a lot of teams.
My heart is in one place. San Francisco.
Stop. You Philly man. But anyway, the Twins are playing ball. Kratz, do you feel nervous about your pick that the Tigers are going to win the Central, or you feel like you're still in a good spot because Pablo Lopez is dealing? And for me, the question is the rotation, which is weird because it was such a strength last year, but you lose some pieces, especially the top 3 Cy Young guy in the American League last year and Sonny Gray. Their bullpen is sick. And it was sick before Duran came back. Like, it was already hot. Other guys stepped up. Now
what an
the
intro
offense
too.
is starting to pick up the pace. Oh, he's got the best intro in baseball.
So cool. Love it.
So I'm feeling better now. I mean, they had a rough start, but I also think that this team could be streaky because of their offensive approach. Am I onto something?
You are spot on. Super streaky. And maybe there, if it's not for those entrances, is their brand of baseball boring? Like, that would be a question that I'd have to ask Twins fans. Obviously winning isn't boring, but it's take every pitch until you swing and hit a dinger, or swing and miss and the at-bat's over. Your pitchers, it is gas, split face, see ya. Like, it's just, and then my boy Caleb Thielbar comes in, and he's throwing huge benders from the left side, closing games out. It's the one team that I think, and I love the Mariners' rotation. I love some of their bullpen pieces, and they keep bringing up bullpen pieces. It's the one team where I look at it, I'm like, besides Pablo Lopez, I don't really care if nobody goes more than 4 innings, because they have 6 legitimate, maybe even 7, depending on how, where Varland's at in the bullpen or rotation, whatever's happening. I know they want to keep him in one spot, but if he slides in there, they could have 7 guys that are shut down relievers.
Sold.
It's a luxury. Yeah, it's a luxury.
And it all started. I'm on a text thread now with the 14 Royals. Like, it started ultimately, and I'm sure somebody will tell me before that, but that team with Kelvin, with Holly, with Greg Holland, and Wade Davis, it was like
3-headed monster.
It was 6-7 for Kelvin, 8th for for Wader, closing it out, Greg Holland. And then Holly went down and Wader stepped in as a closer. And now teams have gone to that, and the Twins have gone to that, and then they were like, Barry Bonds, we're bulking it up. Extra. They just have 6 dudes that just throw noise.
And that's the other part of me that gets disappointed about the offseason, because I'm like, damn, could you have done a little bit more? Like, this is their winning window. You owned the Central last year. You have the ability to do that again this year. This is their winning window. So
they got rid of Jorge Polanco. They didn't even add. They got rid of. I'm not saying I get it. I get where they added pieces.
Margot and
Jordan Montgomery into that rotation. He will always be the guy that I'm like, that bullpen would be even better. It's like San Francisco getting more defense when they already have and then picking up pitching. It's like, why not just double down on your strength? Make your bullpen that much better with Jordan Montgomery giving you 6 or 7 every night behind Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, or bring Sonny Gray back, right? I mean, they didn't want to go 375 for him. I know he had a rough start the other day, but before that, he had looked ridiculous again.
Awesome. He played the Brewers, though. The Brewers are awesome.
I know. Homer. So anyway, Twins are on a roll. We'll see if that continues. Let's get to some MLB attendance trends. We've found this cute little graphic on Reddit on the MLB attendance numbers. We can do some reading here. Obviously, the Dodgers always lead, and they have a massive ballpark too, so you're going to get that. But their average attendance per game right now is at 46,149. It's actually down so far from last year.
What?
Are you surprised?
A little, yeah.
10,000 down? Am I missing? Is that what it's
No.
saying?
No. The first number is what the
That's the
ballpark
size.
holds.
I got you.
Yeah.
2,000 down. That's
I can't wait to see next year, by the way. How much does Sacramento hold? Like 12,000 or 13,000?
It'll go up. They'll go up.
They will go up. That's true. All right, so here's some risers and fallers. The Reds are up big. They're up 24%. Guardians are up big, 25%. Obviously, the A's are down 35%. Rays are down 14%.
Nats
Mets
are
are
up.
down 21%. Who'd you say is up?
The Nats. But don't look at the list anymore. Don't look at the list anymore, guys. Who do you think is the most? If Kip, you didn't look at the
I
entire
already
list.
saw it, and it is
I was
Matt.
reading it.
You saw it, right?
Did you see it, Kip?
Of what?
Who is up the most? Whose attendance jumped the most from last year?
If I had guessed, I would have gotten it wrong, but I did see it already.
Okay.
The
I would not.
Arizona Diamondbacks go from 19,910 last year to 32,000 plus this year. They're up 63% on attendance. Diamondbacks are coming off a World Series appearance, and they were busy this offseason. Mind blown.
And didn't the owner say that? We already knew that they had sold a bunch of tickets, and he said, oh, well, if we sold, I thought he said the number was 10,000 more tickets, season tickets. And he said, I'm going to take that money and invest it in a player. Huh. Boop. What does 10,000 season tickets get you? Jordan Montgomery. Thank you for coming. Every team can do this.
Well, the Twins made the playoffs last year and got some playoff gate added.
Womp, womp.
And they cut payroll.
Yep.
Just saying. Something to think about.
Yep.
Where are they on this list?
They're up 2%, 3%, near the
3%.
Bottom third.
There you go.
And that's not a shot at the fans at all. To me,
no.
They could have had a huge jump here because of what happened. And not only did they make the playoffs, but they won. They advanced out of the first round. Like, ride that momentum. Like, ride the wave. Feel it. Bad feel by them, by the team not pushing more in this offseason.
Other fan bases are speaking. Royals fans up 7%. They did some things. You're starting to buy the vision of the future for that team. Obviously, they're a better team this year than last year. Cardinals fans speaking. They're down 7%. Mariners fans are definitely speaking. They're down 7%. It's not that they're a bad team. They're pissed, right? I saw plenty on social where some fans are like, I'm not going as much. That I feel beat up from the offseason. I'm not going as much. I'm like, okay.
The A's is crazy to me to see a minor league number like 5,000. There's always a packet sitting on the table in the lunchroom in the minor leagues that had the game, all the teams in the International League or the Pacific Coast League, but all the games and their records and the attendance from the night before, the score, and the average attendance. And to see 5,952 fans is absurd. Columbus Clippers average more than that. Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs average more than that. Ironically, Sacramento averages more than that. Dayton, what are they called? I forget what they're called, but they average more than that. They sold out for however many years in a row. They average more than that. What's that?
Nashville.
Yes, I don't remember the PCL teams as much.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 5,900 fans. Again,
embarrassing.
Not the fans.
For the game. No, not the fans at all. Yeah. No, it's embarrassing for the game. It's not the fans.
Mm-mm. So cool chart. Cool to see who's up, who's down. It's almost like a 50-50 split in terms of green and red on the chart, but it's cool to see, what's going on. You can kind of dig into the state of the franchise based on attendance numbers. Let's lap. We'll do some shout outs here. First off, Jackson, always appreciate you in the chat. Said Brian Woo's season debut tonight. Yes. I'm hyped for that. Yet another stud Mariners pitcher who we got to see last year thrive and should be better than ever. He worked on some things in the offseason, got hurt, obviously. So he's like a month and change behind, but also you're not going to have any innings caps to worry about with a young pitcher like that. I'm looking at the positive side of things. So anyway, good, talented pitcher in Brian Woo. Excited to see him added back to the mix for the Mariners. Kratz hats, what do you got? It's the classic Milwaukee.
Yep.
Classic with the wheat. They're actually not the wheat and the barley for the Brewers, but they're actually not using this logo anymore. They started in 2017 and then I think they just stopped it last year. It's very similar, but it's not the best Milwaukee logo. It's a good Milwaukee logo. The best one's the M and the B in the baseball and the glove.
Yep.
Yeah, the glove.
It's I don't love the C+.
Okay. I thought you were going to say B-. I thought you were going to say
I was
B-,
close.
but
I was right there.
there were some ants that were getting on your legs.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what
Not even gonna go there. Yeah. It's been a day. It's been a day to say the least. All right. The last 3 minutes are dedicated to Kip. We have one fan question and then one me question. So the fan question, and yes, Damon Taj Bradley is back today. We talked about him earlier if you want to check that out. Rod said, why did Kip hold his bat that way before the pitcher started his windup?
It's a great question. It started I never did it in high school. I never did it in college. For high school and college, I used to rock it like below me, kind of like Lance Berkman, Mark McGwire type. And then I just bring it up before the pitch. And then, but I had a bad bat wrap. And it'd be too far, and I was not getting to the fastball on the inside. So I started to line up the knuckles on a drill, just doing it with T in high A, and then just turning it up, and we're just going there. And we had an exhibition game, and I was really liking the way the ball was coming off my bat in the cages when I was doing that, and the drills and everything was looking good. BP, I was doing it. Had an exhibition game. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this just for an at bat, see what it does. So I tried for first bat. Left center home run, try for second at bat, right center home run. I was like, well, this is me now. So, but it started just to kind of line up my knuckles and get on plane with the fastball more and just be more direct, to have that and be shorter and not have the big bat wrap anymore. That's how it started. And then I couldn't stop. Once I had success, it's like, I would rather look stupid doing that and have success and be standing on second base after a double than look cool or something and walking back to the dugout, getting out. So once it started working, I had to stick with it.
It makes you unique.
I tried to get rid of it too a couple spring trainings. Like I don't know why I fought it. It was a mental thing where it's like, now I can't even pick up a bat, not like kind of do it a little bit, but I would try to get rid of it and like an 0 for 4 immediately. I was like, damn it. I was like, yeah, it's just like, sorry.
Deflated.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Love that.
Yeah,
that's how it started.
It looked really dumb in the All-Star games that you were in. Ugh.
Yeah.
How
I would poke Kratzy's helmet with it too.
Yeah. I told this story probably the first time. I tried to smell the back of the end of his bat when I was catching. The first time
I'm trying to remember if it was you or not. Like, some catchers would just like hit it, and I'd be like, "Hey, stop that!" Yeah, it's probably I think it was you.
And every time he'd look back and be like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, I thought I hit you, and then I realized
he was apologetic about it.
Punk. All right, and here's my last one on our way out. Can I get one excerpt? It could be a sentence from the Kip journal. Like just open it randomly, and can you give us just like one? Yeah, one random sentence about something, maybe just land on some random pitcher or time. The JK.
The just kidding 22 journal.
JK LOL.
This page is my short bat routine. So let's see. So it goes bottom hand, sword slash back to holster. So I would like visualize basically like putting a sword into my pocket, like you're reholstering a sword. So that's how I would come down at a ball. That's just like what I wanted to visualize. Top hand, you've heard like serve the pie, and I wanted to punch forward. So it's like you wanted to like serve the pie and then also like punch forward with it. Make sure feet are even in a line to pitcher. First round, no stride. Second round, foot down early. Third round, game like. Stay over the ball. That's what it says.
That's super
cool. How is
cool.
that thing still in such nice condition?
It's beautiful.
Thank you. I don't know how it's in such. Yeah.
Mine would have fallen in the dirt. It would have been in my pocket, sweated on.
I've got hot streak thoughts, like when you're going well.
Nice.
What was I thinking? Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, okay. We might have to make that a seg. Like we take a page each time you're on, and
I like that.
Go JK LOL journal.
We'll see. Maybe I'm gonna start writing it again.
Ooh.
Just kidding. 22.
My best show ever. What did I do? Wore the kid shirt.
Erik had a very funny joke today.
He's dreamy.
Yeah. All right, so let's finish with this. FT Shop, foulterritoryshop.com. Always open. Hats, hoodies, shirts, wristbands, stickers, trucker hats. Get after it. foulterritoryshop.com. Go get it. And happy Paul Skenes Saturday to everyone. We have plenty of Paul Skenes content for you on Saturday, and we've already done a lot because they gave us a few days to prep for it. So check that out wherever you get your pods, or obviously on YouTube as well. And we'll see everyone on Monday on FT.
Oh, we can get mugs on the shop now too. Get you a coffee mug, Kip.
Oh yeah, you see mine behind me? I got two behind me.
All day. They're on the shop now.
Good kid.
Mm-hmm.